my last question is about hadith you presented from Kutb Sitta from Umri books, and in that hadith it was written that Umar heard some people, they were saying that Prophet has divorced his wives, and then he went to Prophet and he asks some question from Prophet, and in the last of the hadith, after in few lines of the hadith, it is written that Prophet told him to go out and tell the people that Prophet hasn't divorced his wives. So you told in your video that the Prophet divorced. So why contradiction?
So you don't understand that Sahaba were saying that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam divorced. So the Sahaba were not lying. Omar himself says, okay? And then Omar claims that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that he did not divorce. So either Omar is telling something is lying, or Sahaba were lying. Somebody was lying
So
here.
what is correct?
So you read the hadith. Who is lying? But that was not my point. I read this hadith because in this hadith there's a conversation between Omar and Ayesha, and conversation between Omar and his daughter Hafsa, in which he clearly, Umar ibn Khattab, he attests and he certifies and he concedes that Aisha and Hafsa, both of them, were annoying the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and causing them discomfort to an extent that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam abandoned his house and started living in a garden, in an orchard. And then people were talking about that he has divorced his wives. So that was the important thing, that Aisha is a person who would do adiyah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Quran clearly states a person who does adiyah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such a person is mal'oon in dunya and mal'oon in the hereafter, and she will be punished by a belittling and diminishing adhab in the day of judgment. That's what the verse says. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولُهُ لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. So that was the point. It was not to prove that they were divorced. So you have to pay attention why I recited this hadith. I did not recite that hadith, quote that hadith to prove that these people were divorced. I quoted this hadith for another purpose,